All right, welcome to the show Spring Trends on Morning Spring on Western Spring Television this morning. My name is Emmanuel Ojadigele. We're reaching you live from StarTimes channel 190 on the DTT platform. You can follow us on all our social media handles on Facebook and Instagram, displaying on your screen. And of course, you can also subscribe to our YouTube channel at Western Spring Television on YouTube. Before we start the program this morning, I'd like to show you a warning from the Chief of Defense Staff, Lucky Rabo, to those who intend to disrupt tomorrow's election.
All right, thank you. Well, gentlemen of the press, I'd like to thank you for coming. I'm sure you, just as he has told you, we've just finished a meeting. The service chiefs, the Inspector General of Police, the DGDSS, represented by his Director of Operations, the DGNIA and the CDI, all of us looking at the security for the elections. And as you know, the police is the lead agency for elections security. And we have compared notes and assessed the entire situation, and we are good to go. The assessment is that we are set on all fronts. We equally got representation from the INEC chairman, who of course you have interacted with, who has also told Nigerians and the world that they are ready for this election. So by and large, we are good to go, and I'd like to use this opportunity to assure Nigerians that on the security front, we are good to go on all fronts. Well, I do not need to tell you how we will do it. But all I'm telling you is that we will do it, and everyone will have the liberty to exercise their franchise. This is part of the assessment we've done, and the general assessment is that yes, we are good to go. And we've made contingencies to address those peculiar areas.
And what's your message to those that are planning to cause trouble?
They better have a rethink, because they will have a bloody nose.
Thank you.
Well, if you intend to disrupt tomorrow's election, better have a rethink, because according to the Nigerian security forces, the combined forces of the army, the police, and all of that, you will have a bloody nose. Now let's move over to what we have for you today. Yesterday, a pro-Biafra agitator who lives in Finland, Simon Ekpa, and has been giving so many, strong, terrible advice to the people of the Southeast to destroy things and disrupt the electoral process, was arrested by the Finnish government. Although he was released later, but he was arrested and interrogated for hours. Now let's see how his arrest was, yes, he was arrested in a sting operation carried out by the Finnish Central Criminal Police and KRP. The agency arrested Simon Ekpa in Lahti, Finland. They started around 11:30 hours, and he had refused to open his door during the operation. Now let's take reactions to that, even after I was released. But before I was released, let's see how people responded. We'll start from Facebook, where Charles Awuzie is our first commentator. Charles says, I can confirm that Simon Ekpa has been arrested. I've reached out to the Finnish Central Criminal Police for details of the arrest. Rest Radio, which is translated to English as a Finnish broadcasting company, has also confirmed the news. Thank you, Buhari. Elections will hold in Southeast. If you have no fear, come out and face the Nigerian military. Sewanu Kumayon says, you are in Finland and you're asking your people not to vote. Later you come out and say you are being mad. That is why you want Biafra. Sunday Ime comes next. It says, thank God for answered prayers. The wrath of God will come upon anybody who is behind any calamity in this nation. This is just the beginning. And journalist Charles Chiko Dinaka says, wow, this has made my day. Please, they should also do good by bundling him down to Nigeria with the next available flight to come and face his charges, and thereafter leads the protest and sit at home orders. He will be detained while voting. Will be very silly, arrogant thing. Talking about Simon Ekpa there. Prince Will Chikwebuka says, good one. They shouldn't bother to extradite him to Nigeria. Make them just repatriate him down here. Make we show him small violence since he lacks sense. Nonsense. Anoluwapo Ogunshola says, why is he in Finland and issuing a sit-at-home in Nigeria, causing many panic among the Easterners, trying to jeopardize a presidential election? He should be brought back to Nigeria to answer some questions on terrorism. That's from Anoluwapo Ogunshola. Nathaniel Ugbede is our next commentator, and he says, good news, bring him back to Nigeria. Let the Buhari federal government take care of him. That's what you have from Nathaniel there. And Our Excellency says he relaxed in Finland, leaving others here who are passing through tough difficulties, ordering people not to vote for good governance. Biafra can never come like this. Play your game with intelligence and have your referendum. Very solid advice. Then President Eniola Daniel says sarcastically, the Finnish government should not only lock him up, they should deport Simon Ekpa to Nigeria so he can enforce his seat at home physically. Only a coward gives a command like him. You can't rule by proxy. And Chude was talking about Enugu State's package arriving, and that package was referring to was military men moving into Enugu following some of the incidences of violence to curtail a repeat of that and to ensure safety in tomorrow's election. Enugu State package just arrived. Thank you, King Ahab. Please also send some packages to Olu Ihiala axis of Anambra State. Note, if you have Simon Ekpa's disciples, advise them to desist from violence. Ahab's soldiers know they understand English. Well, that's that on that story. Move away from that to the next story on the political scene yesterday. There was some, misunderstanding in the country. But what happened yesterday, also it took place in Kano, was very much uncalled for. Presidential candidate of the New Nigeria People's Party, Rabiu Musa Kwakwanso, went to Kano for his final campaign. By the way, campaigns ended midnight today, but RMK was in Kano to show up support for his ambition. And someone identified men attacked his supporters along the Na-Ibawa Zaria Road in Kano. The supporters were attacked on their way to receive the NNPP presidential candidate who held his final rally yesterday. Let's take some of the pictures from that. You can see the burnt cars, that was transporting some persons. You also see a picture right there on your screen of damaged vehicles with the emblem and insignia and pictures of Rabiu Kwakwanso on it. And also see the very last picture there of people on the street after that attack trying to, see what's happened and take people, to safety. We'll begin our comments with Aliu. This morning, Aliu on Twitter says, some of the political thugs arrested by the security forces in Kano today after they burnt many cars belonging to the Kwakwanso supporters along Zaria Road. Preliminary hearings have alleged that they were sent by the state ruling party stalwarts, notably Dogua, Goro, and Abbas. And you also see Aliyu again coming up with another comment, says some of the cars burnt by the political thugs hired to stop Kwakwanso from entering Kano. Many of them have been arrested along Zaria Road. Preliminary interviews have revealed that they were promised between 2,000 naira to 5,000 naira to unleash the mayhem. See the pictures of the vehicles that were burnt there. This is damaged windscreen there and another damaged vehicle. Amana Kwakwansia says, it is appalling that APC hired thugs to attack us on our way to welcome Kwakwanso. You guys prove to us that you are all cowards, wallahi. Let's all do it peacefully and see who wins. And that's what we want for the elections. We want some peaceful elections to hold and not, war. It's not a war. We shouldn't fight. Ayman Amin says, so APC in Kano are using thugs to attack Kwakwanso's supporters even before the elections. It's a shame, and it shows how horrible they have been as leaders and how very scared they are of Kwakwanso. RMK is on his way to Kano. The king of the city is on his way home. Our next comment is from Rahila Nuhu on Facebook. She says, a political thug lies dead after he was hit and killed by a vehicle while trying to attack the convoy of NNPP presidential candidate Rabiu Kwakwanso in Kano today. That's yesterday. Dying for stupid reasons is annoying. Why should you allow yourself to be used as a thug by politicians to fight their own opponents? Your blood is not worth the ambition of any politician, and that is just the gospel truth. Nobody should use you as cannon fodder for their ambition. Mohammed Iliasu comes next, says, imagine Kwakwanso came to Ankpa local government in Kogi State on Monday, and we overwhelmingly showed him love. Yet his supporters are being attacked in his own state. Illiteracy is a very big disease, and until almost everybody is educated, the nation won't move forward accordingly. Ismail Matawale Albasu comes next. Says the main reason we all off our hands from supporting bad leadership. They are living in safe distance location with their families, and they give orders to unpatriotic citizens to foil any form of peace. That's what they want, but they will all have their results in the polls. Well, Peter Agbagba says this is unacceptable. Yes, indeed it is. If you don't like any candidate, show it by voting against him or her, and not by physical attack. Oyinloye B. David says Nigerians have the right to choose their future without torture. All these attacks are so uncalled for. Forcing your way to power goes to show that you will misuse power. The presidency should not be monopolized. Let the people choose their future without torture. Together, we jet forward without fear. And Zafat Omaru Farouk, our last commentator, says a joint security force comprising the military, police, SSS, and NSCDC has arrested the chairman of Ngongo and Rimingado local government areas of Kano State, Abdullahi Ramat and Muniru Dahiru, respectively, with pistols. A credible security source told the Daily Nigerian that the duo was arrested while leading armed thugs to attack the convoy of the presidential candidate of the New Nigeria People's Party, NNPP, Rabi Kwakwanso, along Zaria Road, Kano. But that's what that happened in Kano State yesterday. From Kano, we move over to the ADC, that political party where there's some issues, yesterday about endorsement or no endorsement. So the ADC, the party, one of the largest parties in Nigeria yesterday, supposedly endorsed Peter Obi for presidency. A part of the party endorsed him, according to the Nigerian Tribune, endorsed Peter Obi. It was such interesting news yesterday coming out from that party. But then, immediately after that, some other persons in the party said they were not, in line with that they were not going to be a party to that endorsement by the ADC. But first of all, I'd like to show you how people received the news of Peter Obi being endorsed, by the ADC yesterday. Let's take a look at that. The SDP rather, at the Social Democratic Party. The ADC already did their own endorsement of Peter Obi some time ago. So now it's the SDP, I beg your pardon, the Social Democratic Party that is endorsing Peter Obi. So let's take a look at the SDP, what happened yesterday, and how they were able to endorse Peter Obi. We'll now start with Chude. Chude is our first commentator this morning on that story. It says Social Democratic Party, SDP, has adopted His Excellency Mr. Peter Obi of Labour Party as their presidential candidate for the 25th February elections. LP 134K, ADC 96K, SDP 98K, Boot Party 13K, ADP 44K. The total is 375,000 polling unit agents for a structureless party. Miracle, no they tired Jesus. On Facebook, Desmond Dada said something they're supposed to have done long time ago. SDP doesn't have any governors or local government chairman. At least it's a good gesture. Next presidential election might be sure for Obi if elected. One didn't perform to our expectations, and also if Obi decided not to decamp to PDP. Abioye Taiwo says, LOL, failure supporting structureless party is a very great move. Wow. Obedient, you all should keep on laboring in vain. Tinubu is the main man. Well, the next comment is from Daniel Aderemi Oyetunji. He comes up with a different comment this time. Says, thank you, SDP, for this wonderful step. We all shall enjoy the benefit as we all win at the end. Kudos to the party leadership for considering and putting Nigeria forward above self-interest. And because you have done this, surely you won't lose your rewards in Jesus' name. Amen. Chris Baba says, Social Democratic Party, SDP, has adopted His Excellency Mr. Peter Obi of LP as a presidential candidate for the 25th February elections. I told you the real election is today and tomorrow. That's, yesterday and today. Political alignment and realignment. We expect to see more statements like this, more political statements like this about people, aligning and realigning. Michael says, Senator Magnus Ngayabe of the Social Democratic Party in Rivers State is the most competent and qualified candidate amongst others. He advised his party to adopt Peter Obi as his political ambition aligns with his, and they both possess similar track records. Real recognize real. Dr. Penking says, SDP has a formidable structure in the Southwest. In Ekiti 2022 elections, SDP came second, far ahead of PDP. SDP has adopted Peter Obi as a presidential candidate. Do the maths. That's the same doctor saying that So far, ADC, BP, and SDP have joined their structure with Labour Party. Within 1 week, Peter has reduced the number of presidential candidates from 18 to 15 because of those other persons who have joined. Lilian Ebubeogu says ADC, SDP, the both parties have seen the light in Peter Obi and they had to join forces with PO. If you know any of the above listed parties in senatorial reps, let me know. Please list the ones with good intent. Thanks. And let's show you the confusion that I was talking about yesterday, this morning within the SDP. There was confusion as the party is going for the general elections. On Wednesday, the party's national chairman, Chief Shukwa Shonibare, and National Secretary Saleh Das, at the end of the National Working Committee, NWC, held in Abuja, announced the endorsement of Labour Party presidential candidate Peter Obi as SDP candidate on Saturday. In a swift response, the National Secretary of the party, Dr. Oluwagunloye, insisted that the party's presidential candidate, Prince Adebayo, remains its presidential candidate in the forthcoming election. So that's some discrepancies within the SDP, one faction saying that they are endorsing and adopting Peter Obi, and another saying, no, our candidate remains Prince Adebayo. Now, before we leave this morning, let's take you to Twitter, on the street of Twitter, where people have decided to drag candidate of the Africa Action Congress, Omoyele Sowore, for something that he did. Now, let me show you what Sowore did. Sowore, I don't know, there was a poll that came up. That poll was endorsed and powered by a group supposedly known as the NSAS Sowore, NSAS Youth Sorosoke Generation. And that poll gave Sowore 38%, Tinubu 29%, Atiku 20%, Obi 12%. Now, this was not the only poll that was done. There's another poll that was done. And this time, you can see the same statistics if you see the next poll on your screen now. But this one was for Rabiu Musa Kwakwanso. That's powered by Election Monitors of Africa. Kwakwanso was giving 38%, Tinubu 29%, Obi 20%, Atiku 12%. Now, let's see the responses to that on social media, on Twitter. We'll start with Morris. Morris says, Sowore too conducted poll in his family compound. Well, Toluwani says, after the victory of Peter Obi in this election, we'll have to sit Sowore down and ask him what he wants to do with his life. Contesting every 4 years isn't an occupation. I mean, Twitter people are just so somehow. Emil Dimba says, congratulations, Kwakwansias. Poll na poll. Sowore people still busy chasing after Obi instead of organizing small swimming pool for themselves. Osa says, Sowore party members don't believe in him. How is he expecting the youth to rally behind him? He is not a smart politician. You can see this Arise TV News report saying AAC candidate dump Sowore. And Akuro Ulo Trader says, you see these two fake polls? I feel betting at the same cyber cafe run. Only difference was the swap of Sowore for RMK. And you can see it's the same statistics, 38, 38, 29, 29, 20, 20, 12, 12. The pictures just seemed to have been swapped. And Yalaya says, each time I see Sowore join other presidential candidates to sign peace accord, I'll just start laughing. Someone that is just waiting for elections to be over, so he will gather 13 people to carry placards and start shouting, revolution now. Since Sowore has offended a lot of persons on Twitter, Smart says, in all of this, who is Showore's vice presidential candidate? And that's the question. Everybody seems to want to know who Showore's presidential candidate is. But an uncle named Chike and 74 others, 76 others says, nothing can ever take away the respect I have for Yele Sowore, not even his banter against Peter Obi. Sowore is legendary. If we had only 500 Showores in Nigeria, things would never be the way it is. He has sacrificed enormously, more than he who claim Emilokan. Nefertiti says, Sowore is a party accountant, Sowore, party decision maker, Sowore, presidential candidate, Sowore, party national chairman, Otumba SUG president, one man Mopo. That's Showore's title for you. And Eloke says, Oyiga Michael says, Sowore they run for president, he no get vice. And Eloke says, Sowore na scam. Well, that's that about Showore's dragging on social media. That's where we end the show this morning. The TGIF edition, sorry, we can't dance today. TGIF edition of the show. But in the meantime, tomorrow's elections, do well to go vote properly, do well to wear the right things so that you can have freedom to move and ensure that you do not get into trouble. I'll leave you with this documentary showing when the foremost Nigerian leader, Chief Obafemi Awolowo, was released from prison. And I'd like to show you how things went on that day for those of you who are still very young. My name is Emmanuel Ojadigile, and I'll see you on Monday, God willing. Do stay safe and enjoy your weekend.